So this is the monthly meeting of the Town of Eastham Search Committee. Today is Monday, May 12th. It is 10 a.m. We are going to get started. With us today are Kate Paradise Chair, Gergana Aleksieva, Merrill Davidson, Ellen Greer, and Sue Maren. We'll await our friend Mattfeldt. I'm sure she'll be getting here shortly. Also with us is Joanne Linden. So before we do this meeting is being video recorded and will be available on local channel access 8 at eastham.gov. Eastham, I don't have the thing in front of me, the card, but it will be available on the town website, eastham-ma.gov. Okay, so Joanne, for the record, why don't you tell the committee what you just came in and told us?
First of all, I apologize for barging in.
Oh, no, it's fine. That's what these meetings are for. Welcome.
I was in the clerk's office last week taking care of some other business and spoke with Linda Sassy and Kendra Menard, and they told me.
It's okay.
They told me that they had applications from 3 people who were interested in becoming members of the zoning board. They were uncertain about one of the applications because they didn't think that particular person lived in town. You have to be, resident. And at the same time, I had to tell the clerks that I'm losing another full voting member from my board.
Who would that be, Joanne?
Jared Perry.
Okay.
He's still 3 of the 5 voting members are working full time still. Jared has a pretty important job with an IT company. He is often called on to fly to California.
Okay, so it's, but
And
you know,
he
yeah.
He had emailed me that morning saying he wasn't going to ask for a reappointment. He just couldn't handle the workload, and he felt he wouldn't be able to give enough
Okay,
quality time.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's, yeah. So what I, as the chairperson, I am copied on every application that comes in. And I haven't seen anything for the zoning board of appeals. So, what I'm gonna do is go back. I don't have access to the database here. I have it on my computer. I will be in touch with you. I will be in touch with the liaison for that committee. If there is something in the pipeline that we've missed, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And, so I'm sorry, I apologize in advance if we miss something. We usually don't. We're pretty good at this.
Yes, I know you are. It's why I keep bugging you.
No, it's okay. And you're not bugging us. That's what we're here for. So, that's pretty much all we can do right now, but I wanted it on the record. It's important.
I want to thank you for handing out brochures at town meeting.
We also gave out, little gifts. So if you don't have one, I'll make sure you get one. So, thank you. Thank you, Joanne. We appreciate it. And I'm sorry for your loss. I know how that feels.
You're doing very well.
That loss is poignant.
Liaison, so I will be in
Yes.
touch with you before the end
Okay,
of the
and you
week.
have my phone number and email.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, and just to give you a status, and hopefully those 3 applicants are real and.
And we missed 3 times.
Okay.
Thanks, Joanne. Have a great day.
You too.
So I changed our agenda a little bit. I just didn't want to keep Joanne. So. Okay, is somebody taking minutes today?
I would volunteer to take minutes.
Great.
Okay, so I promised him I would do it. So yeah.
Are you taking over the clerk's job?
She is, it's starting in July,
okay, I
so
wasn't
maybe
sure.
today, if you would be so kind as to take minutes, Ellen, today,
Sure.
that would be great, because we're gonna give,
So can I-
Gergana's gonna have a major job here,
Yeah, I did.
so,
Yeah,
okay,
usually they'll record it.
Yeah,
and
Okay.
then I would ask for, we can talk later.
yeah, I haven't done that, I just do it the old fashioned way.
and
That's
you know, your minutes are fine, I think the minutes don't have to be a full explanation of the
Yeah.
minute of who said what to
Short and
whom, it's
sweet.
really,
I agree.
you know, it's a sense of the meeting, and then if we do have to vote on something, that is for the record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we go any further, I just want to remind everybody, I have to remind everybody of this again, that in accordance with open meeting guidelines, and these are Commonwealth of Massachusetts open meeting guidelines, we, as a group, we can have a group email to talk about things that are not germane to the town, but once we get into the business of the town, all of that has to be on the record.
Right.
So, it's just a reminder, for that. The other thing is, I noticed in the meeting minutes, and thank you, Gergana, for your wonderful minutes. I went and changed us for June as well, so that we could accommodate our friend Ellen here. So it says July. So in June, we will be meeting the third, is it the third Wednesday? You just look. I want to make sure I'm not fibbing, since I seem to be missing things all over the place. I think, yeah, in here it's July, but I have put it in for June. So it's the third, Wednesday in June at 11 a.m. And looking at June,
18.
yep, June 18th. The birthday of Paul McCartney. Don't tell,
I
tell.
remember that too.
And what time again?
11
11.
to accommodate.
Oh,
food.
I might come in smelling like a pool.
It's okay,
Yeah.
but you're gonna be here. You're gonna be here. Yeah, we'll put you at the end of the table. Okay, so having done that, may I have a motion? There's just a couple of quick corrections actually on these minutes. The footer sort of got in the way of what was sent out to everybody, and so what I did was I printed out what I'm gonna send to you, Gergana, because there's a footer in the agenda that sort of got stuck in the middle of the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? I think we can remove under number 1, since we have, not having absent, we have Ellen absent. I don't think we really need the sentence, all members were present except Ellen Greer. I think that can be. And I don't really have anything else. Anybody else?
It's good.
Can I have a motion, please?
Second. Just like that.
With, if you can just note that we'll be accepting with the removal or with the one correction.
To accept with the one correction of removing the sentence about,
And then who seconded Ellen? There was a tie. Okay, Merrill.
Yeah, sure, just a minute.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay. So I don't think much has changed, in terms of our needs. I think we can have a larger conversation next month as we begin to gather all of the information for the people that are leaving. the various committees and boards. It's good that Joanne let us know about Jared Carey. That's gonna really severely impact, and what I would say is with a need that's this urgent, all of us can be sort of searching our own databases and talking to people, who do you know? And let's try to get a couple of those seats filled on that.
Merrill,
That
you had a
committee.
chance, you were gonna reach out because you had a candidate that wasn't selected for one of your.
Yeah, I did not reach out to that person.
Okay. Yeah, if you
But I
did
could,
that this
yeah.
week, yeah, because I give her an update, I can let her know whether that's a viable candidate. And there was somebody who turned off of the planning board, who might be.
This guy's named Jared. I'll have to look back on my notes. We just had an interview for the Housing Trust. And I could have sworn it's the same person.
Could be.
And so he's gonna resign from that, yet he was just appointed. to
It,
the
it
Housing
may be
Trust.
the amount of work.
Yeah.
Oh, it could
I
be.
had a conversation with a number of Eastham residents who are now back from Florida. I swooped in on them at church on Sunday. One of them is was a member of the zoning board of appeals. He's not interested in doing that again. But if there's a seat on the planning board, that's his huge interest. His name is Brian Ridgway. So I'll continue to work on that. So, you know, I'm interested in people's going around the table and hearing people's sense of town meeting and how things went.
Before you do that, can I just
Yeah.
ask a question, which reminds me
Sure.
of Joanne's? So she's got this real problem with quorum because she's got a small board and
Mhm.
whatever. So how are the sizes of these boards? If she wanted to expand that board from 5 to 7, is that something she can do? Is that a town meeting?
If you look at the town charter, that's the original place
Yeah.
that you have to go to. Some of the committees and boards are mentioned in the town charter. And that would be difficult to change because that's sort of
Yeah.
like the bylaws of the bylaws of the bylaws. If it's not mentioned in the town charter, then I believe the way to do it is expanding the board or committee. It would have to be done via the select board. So,
Okay,
Why would they expand that board? They can't keep what they have.
I know, but but she has this problem
with the quorum.
Yeah, well, the quorum, but that's why she went to alternate.
And again,
That's important.
you have to be a full-time resident to sit on
Yeah.
this particular
And
board.
It's regulatory, so you
Yeah.
do have to be a full-time,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that
And-
narrows down the
Yeah,
candidates.
because some of these committees seem to have lots of members and some are
Yeah,
small.
right.
Yeah, and I think it depends upon people's interests, you know, the Board of Health. It sounds, you know, sexy, but then when you, people, you know, who object to it, every person that I've spoken, there's been like 4 people that I've tried to recruit. And they all just don't want to talk about septic. And I have to say to them, well, it's not all about septic, but
Yeah.
you know, I also don't want to sell somebody something and have them find out that whatever, so,
Hilda said the other night at the town meeting that she's still interested, but she's not hearing from whoever she's meant to hear from.
who's,
Oh,
Hilda?
Hilda Marola.
okay,
She's
I
still
didn't
interested
hear,
in the
right, but
Board of
she,
Health.
yeah, and she, you know,
She's waiting to hear.
Hope Plavin is the chair.
Okay.
And I have tried to put the 2 of them together and I've backed away because the vice chair, Francie, basically told Hilda, because you're in Florida and can't sit in the meetings in person, we don't want you, which was not true. So then I put then, you know, this is why I wanted this on the record. Because there's too much conversation that's not direct. And so Hope and Hilda need to have a conversation. I will make a note
Yeah, because
So
those are
would
very
that
interested
be-
still.
Yeah.
Sort of a role for us to try to mediate,
I think we
Or-
can to a degree, Ellen, but
Yeah.
we're dealing with adults here. And the triangulation
Okay.
is,
At least chronologically.
and I sort of, I would have loved to have taken Hope and taken Hilda
Yeah.
at town meeting and saying, here,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm putting you in a closet and locking the door.
Right,
But, it's,
And the vice chair, her coming up with, you're not gonna be at the meetings because you're gonna be influenced. Dave Koppelman has been the chair of whatever.
Planning board, yeah.
For forever, and he's not here for 4 months of the year, and it's fine.
and
So,
And what I'll say is, Hope has a ton on her plate.
okay,
Hilda probably left her one voicemail and probably it got lost in the shuffle. So we all have other things in our lives and I
Right,
think we have
right,
to give
yeah,
each other
things
some
get
grace,
sometimes just like that.
about that too,
Right.
so.
right.
mhm.
So I will
Hmm.
call both of them when I get home.
And so, I mean, I don't know, I always just want to be as respectful as possible to people who are applying
Right,
and have interest
Right.
and not get into, personalities and,
Right.
And so it almost feels like if you apply, you should at least get an interview,
I would agree.
And so I don't know how we make the chairs, understand that, or,
Well, I think one of the pieces of work that
it's not their little fiefdom to,
right, and I think that some chairs do view a lot of this as their own little fiefdoms, and I think we have to. One of the things that I think, Joanne coming in here and sitting in here 2 months in a row,
yeah,
putting the face
yeah,
Mhm.
was great.
yeah,
And
yeah, that's fine.
just by the same token, us extending a personal invitation to people rather than sending out an email to, 25 of your closest friends from Eastham
Yeah,
and making it impersonal. Looking people
Yeah.
in the face, that's why we make personal
Yeah.
appearances at all of these events.
well,
So I think
No.
that, we, each of us, probably starting at beginning of FY 26, what I would recommend, and I won't be the chairperson, what I'm gonna do with my committees is I'm gonna walk in on their meetings,
yeah,
plunk myself down, say, hey, I'm Kate Paradise,
Yeah.
I'm from the search committee, I'm your liaison. Tell me what you need, tell me what you think we do, and let me take 5 minutes of your meeting time in order to explain to you how we support you and how we want to be there for you. Simple. All right,
did we haven't gotten any applications since the annual town meeting, sometimes we get a little.
right,
Nobody
but
wants
we,
to know.
Apparently there were 3 that came in that we
It
didn't
could have
know.
been. It's a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I-
I just checked, there are no applications
No,
received, and the Affordable Housing Trust seems to be appointed Justin
Justin.
Kennington.
oh, that's Justin Kennington, not Jared
Not
Carey.
Jared, all right, I got confused.
It's okay,
The J,
No,
the J word, so thank you for
but
that.
thank you for,
the zoning board if they're-
she just checked, there aren't.
Nothing.
So this.
Yeah.
All right, we're,
Okay,
so I think it's great that people are having a conversation with the town clerk's office, but I'm glad she came directly to us.
Mhm.
Okay. Other perspectives on town,
How did how
Meeting.
did the table and the banner look? Are we bummed that
we
missed?
didn't have the banner.
we don't have the banner yet, the banner is going to be redesigned, that's good, thank you, that's a good cue. Kayla's role has been changed, she is no longer the executive assistant to Jackie. Her sole role is communication for the town, and her office is right around the corner on this floor. She was moving into her new office. There was a little bit of a glitch, so we have a 4-foot table and we have a 6-foot table.
Oh.
And we have tablecloth for each of them. Because they came from Amazon, I was gonna return one size. You can just take them over to Staples and Staples will send them back to, they have an Amazon bin.
Hmm.
But I think we could keep both of them, depending upon the events that we're attending and other people in town can use them. Huh?
What was the glitch that you mentioned?
Well, we ended up with 2 tables instead of 1. So I
And
think
the 4-foot is small.
Yeah.
it's too small, I
It's
think.
too small. Yeah,
I think it's too small.
you put 2 people behind it and you're done. And,
Mhm.
you know, we were.
It looked a little crowded there with the
It
4
was
of you,
crowded.
but
Well,
that-
it was- we're out in the halls,
Yeah,
and
and
there's not much room for people to walk by.
Yeah,
and
it
that was
actually
some
worked
really
out good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I
and-
think it
and
was
that-
outside.
But like,
Okay, so that's where, that's one of the things that happened was I came in and the table was set up. And I got some feedback from Kendra that in prior years, there had been friction with the prior chairperson, who's no longer on this committee, about his blocking people getting into town meeting and slowing things down. I said, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Do you want us in the cafeteria area? Do you want us in that
Yeah, yeah.
open area? And I made a decision that we be in the hallway as people were walking by, and my thinking, and please push back. My thinking was, people were told to come early via 16 different methods from Chief
Yeah.
Bohannon. So everybody arrived at the same time. We were supposed to start at 5:30. People were still checking in at 5:45 and 6 o'clock. So because everything was slowed down, keeping people occupied and having conversations with them and walking up and down the
Mhm.
line and handing out brochures, I thought might be a
No.
swell
well,
idea.
The only
Well-
problem that we didn't know that people were coming in from the other side.
Yes.
So then Gergana
Right, they
ran
opened up
over,
both
so we
sides.
missed a whole lot of people coming in that
Yeah.
side.
Okay.
Before we realized that they were coming in from two.
So
different-
do
next
we
time we'll
do
know
2
that.
tables next year, one on
Yeah,
one
the
on each
little one
side to
and the big
trap
one.
people?
Yeah, you do.
And that
do
way we
that.
have
Just
2 and
stand up.
2?
You could
Yes,
just stand
you
like
do
Rick
need
Allen.
to-
Yeah, or you can just
Okay.
stand there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
Yeah.
okay,
I
that's
don't think
great.
they had enough check-in people.
enough what?
Oh,
Check-in
check in
people.
with people.
Check-in.
But that's not our circus
Yeah,
or,
that's-
I know, it's just an observation.
Yeah.
Would they have 6 people?
they had 4.
4.
No, they had 4 and then they had another 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they weren't really checking people in over the other 2, they were coming,
Yeah, there was 6.
anyway.
It went pretty good.
That's the town, that's
No,
the
the
town
meeting started.
clerk.
It slowed it down, so we could engage.
Well, that was the plan.
Yeah, there's the
Yeah.
flip side of that.
Yeah,
And I think that there were more people than normal because of this last,
yeah.
some of the issues. Evidently, I thought it was, it was the warrant Article 9A, but people evidently left after the first few, so
Mhm.
Left after 8, there was a
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
contingent
of
that
8,
bolted.
okay.
I saw that,
Interesting.
and I said, okay, so they want to be here for a
Did you see we were in the
discussion.
paper?
Yes, we were,
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Did you see it?
Good
Yeah,
one. Yep.
yeah.
yep, in the Independent.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
were in the
we were
Independent.
We were right in the middle of it.
You know, the picture with all of the people, we can point each other out.
We were right.
It looks better online than it does on the
Oh,
paper.
yeah.
It was really, I watched the meeting back because I was sitting there,
Yeah.
I had to sit with the finance
right,
committee
right.
and I was
We didn't have
a
to
little
say
bit,
anything.
I was so sort of being careful because you're always on camera, right?
Yeah.
So I had to be careful not to like go. Or.
We're not off.
So it was really funny. Where I was seated, the camera pointing towards us,
Yeah.
I was cut off.
Oh.
And then
Ah.
when it panned around the room, it got to the person on the other side of me and I was cut off. So you never saw me, which was like,
God.
yay. I have to remember where that seat is.
Yeah, really.
Well, I just wanted to ask, what happened to the banner? What's going on with the banner?
Okay, so the banner has not been designed yet.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be
about the
designed
old one?
in, we have the old one. It is in the back of my car. That's, thank you,
Alright.
you know. So the banner is in, we have a small number of brochures left. And Gergana, if you could get with Kayla and,
I think the best will be to do like we did with the banner, because I have like a draft.
Okay.
And Gail can decide if that's okay.
okay, so please get with her. The banner needs to be ready by Windmill Weekend.
So the
Please.
I think the banner, we agreed on the draft, so we're just gonna.
You
wait
just
for
need to
Gail.
meet with her.
Yeah, just to see if it's okay or not.
And the brochure, if you have any tweaks to the current brochure, and then just make sure she's okay with it, since she's, and then we'll just get those printed. There's I think enough left for the special town meeting. I don't think we need a ton of people, but I think these were a hit.
Yeah.
Can I see what it looks like?
We thought they were gonna be in pens.
I thought they were gonna be
Yeah.
pen lights.
I thought they were gonna be pen lights.
What happened was evidently the design, the person who was supposed to be in, from town hall, who was supposed to be in touch with the person that Sue found. I came here and evidently there was a miss in the communication. So our time went from here to here. So this is what we ended up with, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine, and I've got a ton of them in my car.
Right.
So as we leave here, I have your clipboard, Gergana, and your papers. I have, the brochures are home at my house. I've got the old banner and I've got all the pen lights. I don't think that they should stay in the back of my car as we go into summer. You know, they can be somewhere else, but we need to store them. I had a message from the folks here at Town Hall about where we wanted to store our table and all of our stuff. So after our meeting, I'm gonna run around. It's better to do this stuff in person. I'm gonna run around and get us some kind of storage here somewhere. Cause I don't think our stuff should be living in our cars
Yeah.
or in our homes. So.
Were
We'll
we the
figure it
only
out.
ones out there with the table? Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
It was somebody outside passing out brochures or flyers.
Yeah.
Oh, there was somebody
think-
outside passing out the infamous
Yeah.
postcard too. So
So, not inside.
they're not allowed inside. I think they have to be a certain distance away if things are leaning one of the ways in what's being debated or considered.
In
So-
past town meetings, didn't we used to have like a lighting system? We had a green light, you could speak, then the yellow light went on and was almost the time up, and then a stop sign. Didn't we have that at
I
one
don't-
time?
I don't re-
Remember that, these like.
I
It would
don't-
make
I just
sense.
remember the
No,
green
but
light.
we used to have it in the gym and we used to raise our hand.
Oh, yeah, but Dee, that was when you were at the Academy Awards and you were not,
No,
you
is that
were
what it
doing
was?
your
And they
acceptance
went in
speech.
off the stage.
Yes, right, and it was the playoff music,
They had the green.
Yeah,
Yes.
disagree.
when people could vote.
Oh, no, I know that, but I just said there was, for speakers, so there was they limited it to 3 minutes. And then, you know,
I think
as we know that sometimes doesn't work.
Scott Gary said to give everybody time to speak, so
Mhm.
they feel heard, but I think he limited to 50 words.
he was timing people, but he was also giving people a lot of grace, which I appreciated.
He's very
And I-
good at what he does.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does. And the thing is that he knew ahead of time that there wasn't gonna be much conversation about anything but 9A, and he was well prepared. And, you know, he asked us at the beginning if we were going to let non-residents speak. And, you know, for me, I like to say part-time residents, but in the matter of the town, you're either a resident or a non-resident. And if you're a resident, you're voting here. If you're a non-resident, you're not. And it doesn't matter how much time you're spending here. So
Yeah.
that's just the vernacular.
Yeah.
I don't care for it. I think it's not kind, but whatever.
Yeah,
So I think, in terms of how everything went, do you guys feel okay about?
You mean the table and giving
Yeah.
out brochures? I thought
Yeah.
it worked really well.
Yeah.
We gave out an awful lot, and we were able to engage with people because they were waiting in line. So the good news there was
Yeah.
we could engage with
Right.
people,
right.
and they weren't just ignoring us, so, well, they could.
Yeah.
You're right there handing them a free thing. Next time we'll have candy.
Yeah.
Gergana outdid herself.
And,
Oh,
And
yeah.
Gergana,
Engaging, the one appreciate is of getting the brochure, being invited to.
And-
Yeah.
apply.
and I think that's the important
Exactly.
And
thing.
I don't think
And-
people know.
Yeah.
That they can apply and be on a committee in the town, that it's an awareness thing too.
And Scott, I think, was really good about reminding people of that.
yeah, that was nice. in the
That was
beginning,
great.
yeah.
So,
It's a good
you
little
know,
thing.
I think it sometimes takes more than one or two times.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it takes a few more times, so if we just continue to, you know, not be intrusive, but just
Yeah.
be there, they'll get to recognize our faces and they'll know who we are. So that's all we can do.
And the other
Right.
feedback that I would like to share also was that I've met with a couple of people that were serving on the search committee before, and their feedback was that you guys do a great job. That's a great idea,
Yeah. And there was levity, it was easy.
Yeah, yeah.
We were kidding with each other and
Well,
having
there's, you
fun,
guys,
and-
you
and
guys
that-
as a team are so filled with
and
joy
that-
and
and
fun.
that- And that relaxed them and,
Yeah.
what else, and, and they
Yeah.
went,
Yeah, it was all
they,
fun.
they felt comfortable engaging us in
Yeah.
conversation.
Nobody's gonna wanna walk up to people who are stressed out, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think when I walked in, I think that there was some anxiety about where our table would be.
Yeah.
And I just kind of said,
Well,
we'll do whatever you want us to
Yeah,
do. You know, I didn't want to add to my own particular preference was to be exactly where we were, but you know, it's not my meeting, so, right? So,
But having the June meeting is probably good, because this meeting sort of awakened everybody, and then maybe in June, when they see the table, they'll go, yeah.
there,
I
you guys are
I
here
meant to
again.
apply.
Yeah.
Now I will.
Again.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity to have them.
Yeah.
It's almost unfortunate that you can't hand them an application. Cause now they have to go home and they gotta get online and they gotta search it out and.
Okay,
and
There's some that can do it, it's not a problem. But there are others that say, oh,
How-
that's one step more than I would have taken.
out this. That at the June meeting, we try an experiment, we'll have clipboards. And Ellen, so nice to meet you. Give me your email address. I'm
yes.
gonna send you the link to the application as soon
Okay.
as.
Yep. we can do that.
And then,
Do
you know,
that.
dear
Yeah.
Ellen, it was so nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to town meeting. Here is
There you
the
go.
link
Yeah.
to the fondly or with love, the search committee.
Yeah, that's great.
No, that's
We
true.
used to
That
have
would work.
people, I mean, I know, like, when we used to do the newcomers, the Nauset newcomers, and then we would have, everybody, people would put their name and contact information down, and we promised that we wouldn't inundate them with stuff, but it wasn't really time for that there, but that was helpful, so we always have kind of a list of people that were quasi interested anyway,
Mhm.
and so we could kind of follow up with them. I don't know what happened. I don't-
That's a good idea,
those,
Kate.
Yeah.
That's a very
Okay,
good
Even
idea.
even a sign-up sheet.
Yeah,
Before
exactly. Well, we
information,
had
just
one,
leave your
but we
email.
had one, it was just not, it was just not.
it wasn't
time.
Yeah,
conducive.
there, it's not conducive,
Yeah.
and I think that if you're engaging
Oh,
with a
the first one's
person
great.
one-on-one,
Yeah.
I mean, these are recruiter tricks that I used when I was
Right.
trying to place people in companies,
Yeah.
and, you know, would do anything short of coming to your house and ringing the doorbell. Actually, I did that once. Kidding. So maybe, does everybody have a clipboard at home or, something that they could bring, a pad or something?
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, so why don't we do that? For the special town meeting, I have a sense that I'm going to be placed elsewhere. So who's willing to come and
What's the date of the
What is
town
that
meeting?
again?
special town meeting?
27th?
Special?
I don't know.
It's to talk about wastewater.
Oh, okay, right.
Special town meeting
Those are
is,
gonna be the people that really care about the town. That's your.
well, and they would be the ones you probably could recruit, because if they're snarkying,
Bring to you about it.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
that's the best way to turn the tables on them.
With the 23rd, Monday?
Hold on. Town of Eastham special town meeting in June. June 24th. Special towns meeting, I'm sorry, June 23rd, special town election, June 24th. So the 23rd is,
June 23rd, and what time is it? Is it an evening thing again?
I think it's probably 5:30, but what I will do is let me just. It's gotta be in the auditorium at 5:30. Let me just go back to,
Then have this election next week. Select board, can we be around there? I remember doing that when we. Chelsea was
I think I will check.
They won't let us inside.
I don't think
there.
that
No, you
they
have to
will.
be,
50 feet away or whatever.
right,
Yeah.
but it's not something for anybody, particular select board person, just. Recruiting.
I will say, when I go to vote, I put my head down and walk through all the people that are out there casting
Yeah, me too.
things out, just because,
That's why,
but it is more visibility.
Yeah.
People just see
It's
it.
just, with the banner, I mean, we did it a couple of times and. It was all right, I mean, I think just the more we're visible. In people's minds.
So what I have here is special town meeting, June 23rd, 2025, special town election, June 24th. Are you in the database, Gergana? Can you? Let me just, meeting videos, online payment, hold on.
The other thing in terms of engagement, I don't know if people are comfortable with this, but just having a sheet of paper with either all of our email addresses and phone numbers, so, think about it, reach out to any of us, or personally hand them yours. If they're not quite ready to put their name down.
Well, we have a special email address for the search committee. The town is not. It's not, they don't say no, but they discourage us giving out personal stuff.
So does somebody monitor that?
I do, yeah,
And
and
I
there,
will.
and there has been nothing. But we can,
But if we give it out. Okay.
it's just, it hasn't been very active, but. They'll eat the candy and lose the number.
We go to hazardous waste collection, that's this Saturday.
Yeah,
I won't be there.
I think the town calendar. Let me just,
Just to,
I mean, we can do, you can actually be around for a while, but. You know, too much exposure, then people stop seeing that.
Yeah,
You
you
do the
again.
right balance. Huh?
You again.
Yeah.
I'll disappear if you sign up for a board or a committee.
Yeah.
I'll stop haunting you. Okay, well, I will find out. I have to go upstairs anyway.
We need the candidates, right?
That's tonight.
It's tonight.
Yes, and today, at the library is the residential tax exemption, overview. Beginning at 1, it goes from 1 to 3.
When are these select people voting on that or deciding?
They've already decided, and the only thing that may change is
They
if if the people on the select board change. If either of the two candidates that's not the incumbent is voted in, is elected, then there may have to be another meeting of the select board in order to decide whether or not it
So
happens.
it's already been determined.
Yeah. But one of the select board members who originally voted no has made it known that if there is a new group of people on the select board, because all of the work is being done now, getting everything in place and putting aside the funds and doing everything, that person may vote yes instead of no. So it may be a moot point anyway. The residential tax exemption is in.
Okay.
I don't know. You never know how people are going to vote or if they're going to have a change of heart. So.
But they haven't determined what percent.
They have determined that it's 5%.
Oh, it's 5%.
Right, that's what
Because the charts that they were showing was 10, 20, 50.
I know.
So I don't
and-
get it.
The opposition,
5% is nothing.
right?
Yeah.
The opposition was creating
It's nothing.
drama. And my own
Mhm.
personal perspective is if the opposition had just come forward and said, we believe this is hurting the town. We'd like to have further conversations about it. Can a group of us get together and talk about the pros and cons? That would be wonderful. But to come forward with a massive article that brings in 16 things, many of which were patently not accurate, people saw through it.
Yeah.
At town, and they were pissed.
Yep.
At town meeting, they were
Yeah.
they were
It
really,
really was.
people were really annoyed.
Yeah.
And there is a perspective that, you know, if you're new, sit back, look at how things are being done and be careful where you tread, because you might be stepping into something where it's been well thought out and discussed and talked about, and you coming in and making everybody wrong
Yeah.
is not helpful. So.
So are we done? What are we?
I think it's 5:30.
This says now 23rd.
It's so weird that it's, that they don't. put
Yeah,
the
I
time.
didn't see it. That's why I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I believe it's 5:30 because they want to make sure that the people who work are able to get there. So, you know, we certainly can email about that and have a team of people, and we'll have a 6-foot table instead of and we probably won't get we won't get the 500 that we got at the last meeting, but we'll see what happens. So,
So was the new auditorium as nice in
Oh.
person as it looks on pictures?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
and I think people were so well behaved
Yeah,
because it was
it's
so
really lovely.
pretty.
It's really
It's very
beautiful, quite
comfortable
nice.
and nice.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
beautiful.
And the only thing that was a little bit interesting was where the screen comes down. There's no way to regulate the screen. It's either down or it's up.
Oh.
And where people have to sit, there's about this much space between bonking your head on the screen. So the screen could have been put a little bit further back and maybe have been regulated in how far it came down, but that probably is part of the punch list because they're not
Yeah.
done with the
Yeah.
construction yet,
Yeah.
so.
For a regional high school, though, I think it's amazing that Eastham gets to use it. For their meetings, for everything.
I know.
you
Do the
know,
other towns get to use it or just?
I've never heard them ask
Yeah, 'cause
for
it's-
it,
No.
you know, but here it is
Yeah.
in their
No,
backyard, so we get to use
Orleans
it.
uses the field.
Do they have the middle school?
They have the middle school, but
Which
they
is
use the
fun.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're usually out on the field, and Brewster uses the Eddy Elementary,
The elementary
I
school.
believe,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, no, it's a
It would be nice if they could use it for musical concerts
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know, like.
They
when
are,
I was
that's
in
the
Florida,
plan.
In Sarasota, they have a beautiful one like this one is. And they bring in these great groups and you buy tickets and you make a lot of money.
Aerosmith.
Okay. Yeah.
Fundraiser for the search committee.
I think Mick Jagger's still available.
John,
Only during
remember
the
when we
daylight
walked
hours, you have to go to bed early.
the Barnstable High School where the symphony orchestra played?
Oh,
I
yeah.
said,
they
well, they
play
don't
there,
have to
yeah.
play there anymore, they can come out here, look at this.
Yeah.
You know, but it
Especially-
is missing an orchestra pit.
Oh, there you go.
But behind the
Well,
screen.
Just saying, but they did have,
Well,
they
got
did.
one in
They don't
Barnstable.
have that at Barnstable
They,
either.
they have, what I liked was they did have handicapped access for people
Yes.
to sit because I saw Dillis sitting, she was in her chair and she
Mhm.
was right there, very close to the front where she likes to be. So that was good. I don't know who brought her, but that was good. So,
Yeah. I think it's nice.
so, are you all available for the June?
I am not,
Okay,
sorry.
I am available
18th
for the whole time.
meeting?
Make up for
Is
not
that
being
it?
there.
Yeah, I just looked at my calendar.
what happened to your frame of your glasses?
What do you mean?
you-
That's the way they're designed.
Oh,
You didn't notice? I've been using them for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's so.
you know what it is? I have new 20/20 vision here. And my surgery for this one, which was supposed to be last week, they postponed it for 2 weeks because they didn't have an anesthesiologist. And I said, well, probably
Well,
good. It's probably good to have an anesthesiologist.
Oh, no, I'll just bite on a stick. I'll be fine. No, this is called Thin Optics.
Nice.
It's my second pair that I've had. They're very durable. They just fit right in your pocket, like you go into a restaurant, you can't read the menu, of course.
It's like pulling out a credit card.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they work really well and the lenses are good and they're not expensive.
Well, that's what I'm gonna probably, it's so amazing, the colors and.
Oh, isn't it amazing when you have the one eye, you look and it's like gray, white.
Well, this is yellow and cloudy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is, oh my God, you guys are so gorgeous.
I had a friend who had hers done and she wound up hiring a painter because she didn't realize. Dingy in the walls.
That's
Oh
funny.
my God.
Oh,
That's
that's
great.
that's great. That's good.
I'm buying a new house. I don't like I don't like my home. And I don't like Eastham. I'm moving to Barnstable.
But
I don't have to worry about that. I'm divorced already, so it's fine.
Okay.
All right, so anything else?
So you have brochure redesign input?
Yeah, Gergana.
You really need to redesign that.
Well, I
yet?
think,
Did you get to it?
Gergana is an artist and she's gonna, just maybe
If you want to
tidy it
know
up a little bit.
What was the thing with the lighthouse? Somebody mentioned something?
Well, I think we do need to do the lighthouse because the plan for the visitor service board, is that we have all new banners. And the lighthouse banners, because the banners are gonna be in the Route 6 corridor. But
Okay.
because every time you change a banner, you have to have a police detail on Route 6, understandably, we're permanently putting up the lighthouse banners on the Route 6 corridor. So I think, having everything, having that branding, but that, again, that's up to Kayla.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, somebody had mentioned something in the line.
Maybe
I don't
because they have a non-profit related to the lighthouse.
Maybe,
And it's no certified something. And I think they're really active, so that might be.
yeah.
Was it Cape Light Compact?
No,
No.
It's a nonprofit.
I did the tour last year and somebody from there did it.
It's just related, I guess, but that's my guess, because they have a website, they have all of this brochures for the lighthouse, and that's why.
I don't know,
With the town brand, if they're gonna be using any of the town branding, of course, that happened with the postcards that were being sent out.
Yes.
That,
oh, really?
yeah, they were using town branding
Oh,
to make it look like it came from town hall, and
Boy, that's,
yeah, it wasn't good. So,
I learned that Cape Cod potato chips pays for the repainting of the lighthouse.
okay.
I did my tour.
wow.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Good to
They
know.
have a
Learn
vested
on the tour.
interest in that.
Yeah,
and
They,
the
they
place.
were instrumental in the moving, they
Yeah.
donated for that as well,
That's great.
yeah.
So there's one last question that's really, really important before we all leave. Are you Nana? Grandma?
You know,
Granny?
I don't know. I was gonna be Bubby, which is the
Oh,
joke.
Bubby, yeah.
My grandmother was Bubby. My mother, we called her Bubby as a joke, because she was very much not, my grandmother was a Bubby. She had the babushka, the whole thing. My mother was not a Bubby. We called her that as kind of a joke, but it took. And all my kids' friends, just when they'd see her in town, they'd say, hey, Bubby. So I was gonna be Bubby, but now that he's here, I'm not sure I wanna be Bubby. So I'm thinking.
Well,
Well,
the
he's got a
Italian
ways
could be
to go.
Nana.
He's not talking yet.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
that's
got it
true.
back a while.
Or, you could also be in my family, my grandmother, my dad's mother was Enid. Grandma Enid or Enid.
I might
And
do something
so-
with like Sue Sue or Sue Petey or,
Yeah.
I just read Leslie Stahl's book about being a grandma. She was
Okay.
Lolly.
Okay, oh, that's you.
I don't know.
You have time.
I
Yes.
do have time.
Yeah,
It's very wonderful. Congratulations.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
wonderful, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
going
great.
back on Friday for,
Is that your first or?
yes,
Oh,
first on both sides.
yeah, nice.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And my son-in-law's grandfather is still alive, so he's a great grandfather.
Wow.
Oh, that's so cool.
Very
All right.
nice.
I make a
Anything-
motion to adjourn.
And nothing else for the good of the order,
I'll
okay?
second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, we're adjourned. It is 10:52.